Jack Grealish to Manchester City is a done deal. Villa and Manchester City have agreed on the fee, which of course totals at £100 million, making Jack Grealish the most expensive player in Premier League history. Now, that record may be broken again in the space of the next couple of weeks. Maybe Lukaku's deal. Maybe Harry Kane on his way in. But there's a lot of talk on people's lips this afternoon as to whether or not Jack Grealish is actually worth that money. We're going to be debating that with you, the audience, live on the air. But the deal between Aston Villa and Manchester City is done. Personal terms have been resolved. Medicals and all that shenanigans has been going on over the course of today. And it is believed an announcement from Manchester City to tell the world that Grealish is officially a Manchester City player is imminent and expected at any moment. Peter O'Rourke, my show with him is coming out tomorrow. He anticipates that it's going to be an announcement tomorrow, but the deal is done. He is going to be a Manchester City player. There is almost no shadow of a doubt about that. £100 million is the fee. Aside from that, this afternoon, we're also going to talk about Manchester United's Haaland plan and what they are looking to go and do to bring him to Old Trafford next summer for a cut price fee of 65 million British sterling pounds. Do me a favor right now, ladies and gentlemen, and hit that like button. Jack Grealish, is he worth £100 million? You know what's next. Here we go. Good afternoon and welcome back to the terrace. And what a brilliant week it's been. Lukaku on his way to Chelsea. Jules Koundé, a little bit of a snag, but moving along nicely in relation to that deal. Expect some more news around that very, very soon. The Done Deal show is out tomorrow. Saunages news on the way. Exciting times ahead. Martinez updates. Madison updates and plenty. So lots for you to get your teeth sunk into on the Done Deal show tomorrow. But Jack Grealish is the big breaking news this afternoon. And it's on everybody's lips. It's almost everybody's wanting to say it, but not knowing whether they should. Today, he traveled to Manchester to finalize his move. Some people have suggested that medicals have gone on. Others think it's going to be tomorrow. I don't think it really matters. A formal announcement is coming very, very soon, either a holding statement or the completed signing in its entirety. But either way, cut through the BS, cut through the red tape, cut through all the litigation that goes into these things. Jack Grealish is a Manchester City player, unless there is the biggest U-turn of all U-turns of all I'm talking Dirty Den returning from the dead. I'm talking about Cat Slater saying, I am your mother. I'm talking about big. I'll tell you what it's going to be. It's like an I see dead people moment. It's an I see dead people moment for this deal not to happen at this moment in time. And as Lengon Sweet here says, hopefully Kane next. The quad is on. The quad is on. Maybe. We've got a poll running. Do you think Jack Grealish is overpriced at 100 million? 63% of you think yes. Now, that's very, very interesting that you think that. I'm going to tell you why I don't think he's overpriced. Why I do not believe that Jackie Grealish is overpriced. And I can prove he's not overpriced. Football Financier. I mean, you want to go head to head? Let's go. No, I'm only joking. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on this. I want to know your thoughts and I want to know your feelings on that. I do. We're also going to be talking about Mr. Haaland today. So what has now been revealed, of course, we know now it is almost there's a 1% chance that Haaland goes Chelsea this summer. This is great news for Manchester United. Manchester United, this is something that's being spoken about openly at Manchester United at the moment, that they are now very confident they can lure Haaland to the club. There was no way they were going for him this year at that price because there were other priorities that were deemed more of a necessity than a centre forward. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is said to be very, very happy at the fact that Chelsea didn't land him. They believe it's opened the door. The same exact approach used to convince Jadon Sancho to join is now going to be used when it comes to Haaland. They're going to keep in regular contact with him. They're going to keep speaking to him. They're going to keep showering him with praises. They're going to keep just showing him that Man United are moving in the right direction. Now, of course, part of this plan is for us to become more productive on the field of play, maybe pick up a trophy or two. Who knows? Maybe win a major honor. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but those things would certainly help to, of course, convince Haaland to join Man United. But there is a plan of action now. United will go hell for leather over the next 12 months. And the transfer for Haaland doesn't start in May or June in 2022. The transfer for Haaland starts now for everybody else. Everybody else's charm offensive begins now. Barcelona and Real Madrid look like they're going to be fine financially. It's a new big 2.7 billion euro deal that's been negotiated with a large bank that's set to fix a lot of the financial issues at the club. Real Madrid and Barcelona will guarantee you this. They're going to get a lion's share of that money. They always get helped out one way, shape, or form. So a lot of work got to go into this by Manchester United. Do you think they can pick the player up next year? That's a question that I want to pose to you in relation to that. Let's go look at some of your comments that are coming through here. Lovely super chat here. It says Jack Grealish is overpriced and overrated. Is what Mr. Ahmed says. Overpriced and overrated. I need to understand this. My brother, why do you think what I need on this is, why is he overpriced and why is he overrated? I need some rationale to that comment. Thank you very much, my friend, for that super chat. It's exceedingly generous and wonderful of you to do that for the terrace. And I have, by the way, today, 100% done deal, secured the location for the first Football Terrace away day. So, legends and super fans, and like a sprinkling of our large super chatters, you'll be the first audience that will come to one of our live shows. It'll be like this, but it's going to be at a location, and you will be the live audience. You'll be the live audience. Done deal, signed, sealed, delivered today, this afternoon. I was on a meeting for that. So remember, you'll get the notifications of that if you're a legend or super fan member. We will open it up to more of the Football Terrace community later on down the line. We're going to try and do one of these a month minimum, maybe even 2 a month if we can strike the right deal up with this location, because we need good Wi-Fi to be able to do it. I've been to 3 locations that were great, but no good Wi-Fi. Dead, bruv. Honestly, it was dial-up stuff. Like when KJ first came on the terrace still. So it was like that. But listen, if you think he's overrated, let me know. Let me know right about now, people. We need to get that done. We need to get that dusted. Right. Super Jack Grealish is what Julian here says. I hear you. I think he's super. But I'm going to tell you why I think he's priced at the right amount of money, if I'm being honest here. Before that, there is a super chat I don't want to miss. Real and Barcelona are just around 300 million. United can forget about Camavinga, Haaland, Pogba. United is big, but nothing compared to these two. Look, I think Haaland's going to be hard. Camavinga, we know that's going to be even harder because he fancies round. We've known for Man United have known forever, for absolutely ever, that they prefer. Man United have known forever that they've preferred to do. Camavinga's preferred Real Madrid and Barcelona, so there's no issues there. Paul Pogba, we'll see what happens there. But it's not the end of the world. It's going to be very, very difficult to get those deals, but United are going to work very, very hard on them indeed. Now. 1 second. I want to talk about why I think Jack Grealish is worth £100 million. And there's 2 reasons, really. He is one of the most creative players in the Premier League. Nobody, through open play, barring KDB, who, by the way, is regarded as the best playmaker in the world, creates as many chances as Jack Grealish, as many openings as Jack Grealish, both statistically and as far as the eye test is concerned. And let me break that down real quick. If Jack Grealish is instrumental in a brilliant move on the left-hand side of the pitch, plays a 1-2, squares the ball, but no one makes contact with it, but they should have made contact with it. The striker didn't make his run on time. That's a chance created in my books, but statistically it doesn't count. So when you look at the eye test element and the statistical outputs, he's out there, he's amazing. No one comes close, and he's done that playing for Aston Villa. And I mean that with all due respect. He's done it for Villa. Going to a team with more of the ball, with a high level of quality around you, you do realize that to double up on Jack Grealish in a Man City shirt is going to be, it'll be idiotic, because you've got all the other plethora of talent there. He's going to kill it at Man City from a creative point of view. There is still a concern. I still hold this concern of how is he going to adapt to a more regimented system. But the majority of you for the past 2 weeks have told me I'm wrong. So I'm willing to concede on my thought on that and that point and wait to see what happens. But I think he's going to be a highly creative football player. But a secondary reason, and the most important reason that I believe he is worth this money, is because the market dictates that he is. Since Cristiano Ronaldo, who at the time was the best player in the world, okay, so we have to put this into context. When he was the best player in the world, he broke the world record transfer fee for £80 million in the summer of 2009 to join Real Madrid. Since then, the financial growth in the Premier League financially has been circular 320%. And that's taken into consideration the growth of revenue from the top 6 clubs, plus the TV revenue, both domestic and international, generated. It's around, on average, around 320 million. Now, the reason I say on average is because Man City's individual growth in that time in terms of revenues and income is actually 530% as a football club. We all know why. So based on the maths growing, the inflation in football, the additional money in the game, Cristiano Ronaldo, in today's money, at his pomp, would cost you £256 million. And when you think about the best players in the world right now, imagine if Messi was 25 years old and you wanted to buy him, or Ronaldo was 25 years old. You're looking at 250 million plus to sign that individual. Jack Grealish, in reverse, in 2009, would have been a £24 million player. £24 million for one of the most creative players in Europe back in 2009 wouldn't have been looked at as weird. I think what we have a habit of doing as football fans is looking at the price, say 100 million, and comparing it to players that are better, that were 50 million pounds 10, 20 years ago, and not taking into consideration how the financial landscape has changed. One of the best players in England, once upon a time, sold for £1 million and it was headline news. You know, you do the inflation on football since then, that again is like 100 to 120 million pounds signing today. Wayne Rooney, when Man United signed him, based on the inflation of over 420% since 2004 in the Premier League, since that point, would make him a 150 million pound player at the age of 18. Wayne Rooney at 23, 24, when he was firing on all cylinders, would have been 250 to 300. I think sometimes we forget that football has so much more money inside of it now. I said 2 years ago when Maguire was signed for £75 million, that in fact, in 4 to 5 years' time, and we maybe have to add an extra year onto that now because COVID has really slowed the financial landscape down somewhat, that his deal was going to be looked at as good value. And you're now starting to see Grealish's and everybody else moving to the £100 million bracket. This is going to continue in that trend. In 10 years' time, average Premier League players will be going for 30, 40 million pounds a pop. The stars are going to be going for 150, 200 millions. Point easy. And it's crazy money, but when football holds that amount of money in their bank accounts, those transactions just grow at the same time. What we've got to hope for, actually, they use some of that money in subsidized tickets and travel. That would be absolutely amazing. But there's two reasons. One, I think he's a top-class player that they're signing at Man City, and I hope they don't waste him. I hope they utilize him correctly. But he's worth the money because that's just the market as it stands right now. Now, I want to hear from you on this debate today. Do you think Jack Grealish is worth the money? Yes, no, or indifferent? You know the rules on the terrace. You can phone up. You can have your say. You can debate it out with me. It's as simple as that. I mean, Kieran here says Jack Grealish is only worth 85 million. I mean, I don't really see too much of a difference. It's 15 million pound difference. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but I do hear you on that, my friend. We had some big super chats that came in. I might have missed putting them up. I didn't even see them come through. I'm so sorry. Dwayne here with a super chat says, respect to the innovation of TFT. Keep moving forward with the great content. Listen, Dwayne, I appreciate that super chat so very much, my brother. It means a great deal to me. The innovations continue. We continue to move forward. And we just hope that people are enjoying the content that's out now and the brand new stuff that is in the pipeline as well. Grey Wolf Dinner here says, Grealish is injury prone and he only had one world-class season, and that's debatable. I see him more as an impact player from the bench, a bit how Mahrez is used. Now, I understand you not thinking he's worth 100 million if you don't think he's that good a player. But I think he's that good a player, thus market dictates. So I want to know your rationale behind it. Don't just say he's not worth it. Please come with a reason, some rationale. Can't stop the shine with a super chat here. Says, big up Terry about Haaland. What if Ronaldo leaves Juventus for free next season? Don't you think Raiola will do what he did with De Ligt when he was free? He might do. I mean, Juve may have an opportunity to bring him in next year. Let's see what their financial situation is saying and everything else. Thank you for them super chats. I'm sorry I didn't get them up on the screen. I need to turn slow mode on in this comment section, really. Remember, every super chat that gets sent in this month that's green or above, your name goes into the prize draw to win a football shirt of your choice. And one lucky winner will have their name up in lights and join our members wall at Unit 7, the brand new Football Terrace studio, which I have been reliably informed today. All our equipment and our furniture is arrived at. Javern and I are going to be setting that up on Tuesday. New shows coming from the 20th of August. We are launching. And thank you all yesterday for helping us pick our brand new wall art that's going up. Cannot wait to reveal it to you all. It's going to be amazing. But if you put £5 in, your name goes in once, and then in multiples of 5 above that, so can't stop the shine, your name now goes into that hat twice now. Dwayne Anderson, that's I'm putting that in as $24.99. I'm up $23.99. That's going to be £25 as far as I'm concerned. That's 5 times your name is going into that hat. Thank you, brother. Will he be the most expensive transfer in the Premier League? For now, listen, if Harry Kane gets sold, that's definitely going to change very, very quickly indeed. Very, very quickly indeed, that is going to change. I am still waiting for a lot of you here to come out and say that the deal is done. Dominic King here, who works for the Daily Mail, has just shared some information saying that Jack Grealish to Man City is done. He's on his way to Manchester ahead of a medical tomorrow morning. Everything else will be completed. He will now become the first £100 million English player. Yeah, very similar to what I was told today. Again, you always find with this information when it comes out, it varies slightly, but just focus on what the end point is. But Jack Grealish is a Manchester City player. That is as cast iron guarantee as you can get. We're going to bring you on now to start having your debate with us. First on the show with me is going to be Man Like Neeks. Welcome back to the show, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right, Terry. I'm all right. Actually, let me turn my camera on. Let's see. My bedroom even tidy. I don't know.
It's your bedroom. No worries, brother. I mean,
I'm at my desk working.
No worries, my guy. What's your take on this? Do you think Jack Grealish is worth £100 million?
No. Simply put, no. And I'll give you the reason why. And it's going to be a bit, you might call it a bit nerdy. I studied finance economics in university. And there's 2 things when it comes to value. There's market value, which obviously you've described, and there's economic value. Now, the market value isn't even worth a discussion because market value is what it is. The market value of a player, a good or a service is what somebody's willing to pay. So the fact that Man City are willing to pay 100 million, his market value is 100 million. If nobody was willing to pay 100 million, even if Villa set their price at 100 million, his market value isn't actually 100 million because nobody's willing to pay that. But Man City are willing to pay it. Therefore, it is what it is. And you can debate, oh, Ronaldo went for 80, he went for 100, Maguire this, Maguire that. It doesn't matter. Man City are willing to pay 100. Therefore, he's worth 100 market value. Economic value, however, is determined by, well, if you didn't buy him for 100 million, what could you have bought for that 100 million? And you compare what you're going to get from this service, Jack Grealish, compared to somebody else or something else for 100 million or less. Additionally, you're also calculating what additional value does he bring to the team. Now, for me, Jack Grealish isn't worth 100 million to Manchester City, because what he brings for the team additionally is not 100 million pound on top of what they already have. When you consider they have De Bruyne, they have Foden, Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, I do hear that he's leaving, Ferran Torres, Ilkay Gundogan. Those are all their attacking options. I'm leaving Jesus out of it because he's the striker rather than Crater. So to Man City, for me, his economic value isn't 100 million because he doesn't bring that level of additional value to their team. Let me give another example. If you use someone like Romelu Lukaku, to Chelsea is worth 100 million because they have no striker. So he brings, and I'm talking about economic value wise, he brings that value to their team of that amount. But to Real Madrid, he's not worth 100 million economically because they have Benzema. So what is he going to bring that they don't have already? So as far as I'm concerned, for me, Jack Grealish market value is 100 million because Man City are willing to pay it. But he doesn't raise Man City's level to the value of how much he's going to cost them for me to say he's worth 100 million to Man City.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of like what I said earlier. And you've just obviously put more of a finance label on it from a, you see the difference there between bankers and accountants. Bankers just look at the cost of something, where accountants like, no, we should not be spending our money on that. I love it. But like, I agree with you. It's like that call. One of the super chats said that he's only worth 85 million. And it's like, or somebody else said, actually, I think he's overrated, injury prone, and won't improve Man City. Therefore, as you say, from an economical point of view, he's not worth the money. Where I look at it and think, I think he's going to give them something completely different. And where I say that is, we're going to add more people to this debate as we go along. If you're backstage, ladies and gentlemen, Amin and Amar and Jess is backstage and everybody else. We're going to bring you all in to have your say. My view is, I think he will improve them. And if you look at the case in point of the Champions League and a lot of their big games, if KDB isn't creating, very few others in the real clutch games do. Does that make sense? There's almost this element now of, I'm not saying you spend £100 million for one game, but when you're a billionaire owner, you do. I just think it's going to give them more creativity, more versatility within their side. And that's the danger. And I say City have been found out. They won the goddamn league last year. But when KDB went off against Chelsea in that Champions League final, we all watched the rest of that game. We all said it on the stream afterwards. They did not look like they were going to score if they were playing for another hour. And I think
I get that. But when you consider they also have Foden coming through, and I'm not saying Grealish is going to stall Foden's process, etc. But a year on, if De Bruyne goes off injured another Champions League final, Foden surely is in a year better position to carry the weight of the need of the team that he wasn't able to do last year. So is Grealish worth 100 million to bridge that gap when that gap is bridged alone just by having Foden for an extra year? Like, it's all those, having Ferran Torres for an extra year. It's all those things you have to consider. And I just think, now, if they go out and get Kane, then it doesn't really matter what you spend on Grealish anyway, because it didn't hamper you going and getting Kane. But if now they can't get Kane because they don't have, we know they got the money, but within the rules of football, if they can't spend that extra 50 million outright on Kane because they've spent 100 million on Grealish, for me, it's not worth it, because you put that money aside, you get Kane, who for me is a bigger importance, and he brings a bigger added value to the team. And I think your team is better for that. So if they get Kane and Grealish, then who cares what you spent? But if you can't get Kane because you bought Grealish, then it makes the investment for me even worse.
And that makes sense. I do get this feeling. How do I say this in the right way? If FFP is relaxed as much as people are suggesting, we might just be seeing billionaire spending like a billionaire spends. Like, there's no, do you get what I mean? Maybe the clubs have been told, whatever you spend, if you're outside of FFP, we're going to give you 2 years to resolve it. it's worth the billionaire just doing it, and then worrying about that over the next 2 years about how they resolve that matter. It's going to be intriguing to see. We actually have a Harry Kane update coming first thing tomorrow morning. Going to add Jess to the debate now as well, along with the devil's advocates. We're going to add a few people more to this debate to have their say on this matter now. Jess is here. The devil's advocate is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Viewers, please make sure that like button has been a recap for anyone who's just tuned in. The deal is done between the two football clubs. Jack Grealish has travelled to Manchester. I've seen one report saying his medical was today. I've seen others tell me that it's tomorrow morning. A formal announcement is expected tomorrow for it to be pushed over the line, but the deal in itself is done. He will be a Manchester City player for £100 million. We want your thoughts and feelings on him, the player, but we're debating whether or not he is worth that money. Jess, I'm coming to you next. £100 million signing. Is Jackie Grealish worth it?
Oh, it's a difficult one. Like, I was listening to what Neeks was saying, and like, obviously that's super technical, and I'm not like a finance expert type of person, but ultimately, like, he's worth 100 million to Aston Villa, because it's going to take that, if not more, to replace Jack Grealish's impact on that team. And then Man City was willing to pay that, so right now he is worth 100 million. But for me, it's about the impact that he's going to make on the team. And we don't really know that until we see him play with Manchester City. I personally believe that he won't make $100 million, impact. I don't think he's going to make that. I think they have players that are of his same quality, at least on the same level. So I don't really see him moving the needle that much. Whereas like maybe a Harry Kane would make a bigger impact, because they definitely need a striker. So for me at the moment, I'm just thinking that this is just right now he's worth it on paper, but let's see what happens when they actually play. I don't see how he makes that type of impact. Like if you put him in the Arsenal side, yeah, $100 million, we would see that impact, because we don't have players of that quality in our side at the moment. They do, so what does that look like for a City? Like, I guess unless he puts up the type of numbers that makes them unbeatable in the league and like definite winners of the Champions League, then
that's the only way it's the only way they justify it.
Yeah,
you have to win the Champions League, or you might as well stick with the same team, because you didn't win it without him anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I kind of see it now.
I do hear you on that. I really do. The devil's advocate is here with us. How you doing, buddy? You good?
I'm good, and yourself? And how are you?
Yeah, very, very well. What's your take on this? Do you think this is a good investment from Man City, or do you think they've overpaid for the player?
I think it is a good investment, to be honest with you. Reason being, a lot of people aren't speaking on the commerciality of Jack Grealish. He's got the David Beckham effect, which is not necessarily based on football, but also off-field brand capacity. So what I personally believe is City are paying the 100 mil for Grealish, because he's going to be that player where he's going to bring the limelight to City, essentially. He's going to be more of a commercial commodity than a footballing impact, because I personally don't see Grealish influencing City that much on the field of play. I feel like they're more or less going to just slightly level up, but not drastically level up. It's going to be the whole Ashley Young thing from Villa, where he was the most creative player at the time, moving to City.
Can I ask a question quickly? Who do you think brings a better economic value off the field, Kane or Grealish?
It depends, because Kane is from Terry once said this. Kane is for the old people, to be honest with you, and Grealish is the younger crowd. And because City are at a point where they're trying to become a legacy club, so they are trying to get most of the younger audiences essentially to be a City fan. And in order to do that, they're at the point where they need to be a marketing giant. Yeah. And I feel Grealish is the first step in becoming that marketing giant.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting as well? Like Harry Kane has got this squeaky clean image until the last few days. I saw a lot of people going at Gary Neville yesterday, which I just thought was quite entertaining to watch, really. He did say one thing in there. Would defend Gary Neville with where he said, of all the people I've worked with, he's the most professional. He's never worked with Lukaku or Pogba. Like that one little part of the sentence, everyone seems to miss out. He didn't say he's the most professional football player I've ever come across. But anyway, that's another question for another day. Harry Kane, though, he doesn't have one thing Jack Grealish does. Jack Grealish is sexy as fuck. Jack Grealish is a good-looking motherfucker. Let's just put it out there. Let's not be bashful. Jack Grealish makes them knees go weak. Jack Grealish turns like Harry Kane. He can't talk properly. I don't mean it horribly, Harry. And not that you don't watch the Terrace. Like he doesn't like speak. He hasn't got a sexy voice. He doesn't look like Brad Pitt. He hasn't got like sex appeal about him. He just doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And Grealish does. So there is that element. I mean, you stick Grealish in a tight. Like, look at Jess's face. Jess knows. Jess knows 100%. She's like, yeah, Jack Grealish is sexy. Jess knows 100%. She knows. She's like, yeah. Then I know what you want to do. You like. Listen, I do as well. I want to rub oil into his calves. I'm just telling you that. Like Jess is gone. Like I just at the end of the day, right? Like for me, he's got that appeal. So he's definitely got that commercial sense there as well. Tahir says. So much respect for Jess. Speaks fact. Would love to see her present one of your shows.
Oh, thank you.
Watch this space. I'm not going to say publicly what's going on, but yeah, watch this space when it comes to Jess and stuff going on with the Terrace moving forward. Devil's Advocate, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. I appreciate it loads, mate. Thank you. Call in now and have your say. We had a few more super chats that went by that we may have missed. I'm going to have to put a slower chat on in a minute because I can't keep up. Mario here says his tactical fouls alone are worth 100 million. I mean, yeah, he does get fouled a lot, to be fair. He does get fouled a lot. Hey, Terry, any job vacancies at the new studio? Not yet. We do have a team already, but as we grow, Vincent, maybe. Depends what you want to do for a job, mate, to be honest with you. Because like we've got man like Javern, brother. Javern is back. 2 years in the wilderness, but J-Ron, the J-Dog, is back in the house. I always promised him that. And there we go. Abs is here with us now. Abs, long time no speak. Jack Grealish, is he worth 100 million pounds?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. This is crazy. And this is COVID 100 million. That's crazy. I'm sorry. So are we saying that Jack Grealish is 23 million times better than Jadon Sancho? 23
million?
Yeah. We got him.
Oh, right. Sorry. I think the situation's different. Do you think he's better? What's your okay? Go on.
Terry, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. For me, this is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Grealish fan, to put it out there. I think 80 million is a fair price. He's never won PFA Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year. He's not won a league. He's not won a trophy. But he's going for 100 million. The pressure that's going to be on Jack Grealish is going to be crazy. I think this is madness. This is football madness now.
Why madness? I don't get why.
100 million. Because if Jack Grealish is going for 100 million, then Harry Kane is 200 million then.
But it's different still.
How
age, for one?
Yeah. Nah.
My question would be, is there a player out there who could add to Man City what Jack Grealish is going to add for a cheaper price? Now, I don't have the person on the top of my head, but I'd argue yes. To flesh out the argument, I probably need to do a bit more research. But I just think there is somebody out there who you can get for less than 100 million to add to an area that Man City don't really struggle in.
Neeks, they've really got people in their team. Phil Foden, Mahrez straight away don't do what Jack Grealish does, and they got Mahrez for 65 million, Foden for free.
Let's not act like Man City are not just trying to make a statement. That's all this really is. Like, they're trying to make a statement, and this is more of a signing to look a certain way, to look like they can. I mean, they already know that they compete at the highest level in terms of financial power in the Premier League, maybe even the world too. But they're just flexing their muscles. They know Chelsea is coming. They know Manchester United is making big moves. That's really all this is. So I think it's almost like irrelevant. Like, is he worth 100 million? I think we can all say that, like, prices are always inflated. He's English. It's this, it's that. He could probably find another player that could do something similar. We don't know if he's worth it or not until he plays. Like, we really, really don't.
Jess, he's definitely not worth 100 million. That I can tell you now without even him playing. If they wanted to really flex, I would have said, if they put 150 million on Harry Kane, I would have said, yes, oh my God, Man City are flexing. This is more of a panic. It looks like a panic than actually flexing.
But I mean, he does have a unique talent. Like, we are talking about Jack Grealish. Like, he does have unique talent that, you know, I kind of disagree with. Harry Kane is just so much more of an influential signing for them. Like, I think, yes, he is, like, because they need that position, but it's still Jack Grealish. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the biggest difference between Harry Kane and Jack Grealish for you? Why is Jack Grealish a panic?
Goals,
guaranteed
goals.
goals, guaranteed goals. And Jess, let me ask you this: in your honest opinion as an Arsenal fan, what Jack Grealish is, can you tell me Phil Foden cannot be or surpass in 2-3 years' time?
Yeah, I mean,
then it's a waste of 100 million. I'm sorry.
It's not a waste, though. Like, to say it's a waste, like, there's different reasons why you make certain signings. And this is not based on, like, what they really want to do on the pitch. This is just I hate to say it like this, but this is just to show whose dick is bigger. Like, that's basically all this is.
Whoa.
Can I say that?
Yeah, Chris can. You know,
That's all this is. Like, I think we're getting too caught up in it.
Like I said earlier, I'm going with Jack Grealish. I'm pretty.
That's all this is.
I've got some breaking news to interject with, and I'm really annoyed because this will come out on the Done Deal show tomorrow. Arsenal have offered Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe Willock and Reece Nelson in talks for James Madison. Nketiah has also been mentioned, but Leicester's preference is cash only. What I will reveal about tomorrow's show is both Martinez and James Madison are on for Arsenal, but it's cash only deals both clubs want. It's in Arsenal's hands. The conversations have advanced. It's on Arsenal now, whether they get those deals. Chris Wheatley, what are you doing to me, bruv?
Can you just name those names again, please?
Maitland-Niles, Willock and Reece Nelson.
That is a disrespect. Unless you're gonna give 60 million and those players, because you just want to get them off your wage bill. That's a disrespect.
What it is, that's what it is. It's
what do Leicester want?
They want I think they want at least 70 in cash.
Okay, well then you need to give 70 plus them, because them three are not good. No, Jess, they make Leicester's squad worse. What can they offer? What can they offer to Leicester for a team that want to get Champions League football?
Way too far. Neeks.
You should pay. You should pay them to get them with the wage bill.
Maitland-Niles is not a horrible player. Like, are you kidding me? Willock is not a horrible player. What are you guys talking about?
For a Champions League chasing team, not saying Newcastle.
They're gonna be.
Get out of here, Jess.
What did Jess just say? Oh my Lord, Jess.
Listen,
wow.
We'll calm down.
Players.
We'll calm down. They are horrible at the elite end of the spectrum. There's no doubt. But listen, that's breaking news there. Do you know what? I had to record it with Pete because I'm busy in the morning tomorrow, so we weren't going to do it live. And I always get one thing I say about recording transfer content. Someone always beats you to the pump on it. But there we go. Same people calling Jack Grealish overrated are the same people during the Euros calling for him in the Euros. You really see the City bias. Look, I disagree with. I was kind of silent in that debate. I disagree. I think he will improve the team. Phil Foden's amazing, but you need more than Phil Foden. What's KDB now? 30, 31?
31.
So there's future-proofing your squad. I know Jack Grealish isn't a baby. He's 26. So he's going into the pomp of his career. But Foden's still at that early stage. Man City they always have had, and they always will remain to have a plethora of talent from front to back, inside and outside. And they want that strong bench. And we've all, we've got two Man United fans on here, along with me and Jess. One thing we've praised about the signings we've made is, wow, look how strong our bench is going to be now. The same reason. So I know that he's cost 100 million and Sancho cost 73. But the difference between the two deals is it cost 73 because it took a long time to get done. Dortmund agreed to sell him last year, agreement in principle, blah, 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 blah. If Dortmund had Premier League money, by the way, Premier League TV money, they would be driving an even harder bargain. In fact, they wouldn't even be a selling club. They would be a team challenging Borussia Dortmund the whole way. But so there's fundamental differences. But saying you shouldn't sign, saying that you shouldn't sign Grealish because you've already got Foden and KDB, for me, that's like saying you shouldn't sign Jadon Sancho because you've got Ahmad, because you've got Greenwood, because you've got Rashford and Martial. Adding additional quality to a squad is always worthwhile. But I'll go back to the market value element and the growth and the inflation within football. Grealish level players are just costing. Arsenal are maybe being prepared to put a £75 million bid in for James Madison, and Grealish is £25 million better than James Madison, as far as I'm concerned. But that's my thought.
I think that's a hard one. I'm not going to lie, because it was a
I don't know
point
what Terry's
where
talking about here.
Yeah, Terry's love for Grealish.
I think there was a point where people were saying James Madison, Grealish, either one would do, even for Man United. They're as good as each other, and I think James Madison did have a bad season.
He had an injury.
A lot of it was, and I think he fell out with the manager and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of quality and what they can bring, I think they're slightly different players. But in terms of the impact they can have in the creative area, I'm not sure if 25 million is the difference.
I'm calling it now, right? The player of the year next year in the Premier League is going to be Bruno Fernandes. He's going to have. It's going to be Bruno Fernandes, right? But the reason I say that is, outside of him, the person who's going to push him to that title is going to be Jack Grealish. I'm saying it now. I'm backing him. I'm dropping any agenda that maybe won't fit into the system. He's going to be so good next year. You're all going to be coming back here saying, "Oh, Terry, I'm so sorry we ever doubted you. You're the best. You're the best. We love you. Oh no." Oh, I'm sorry.
Terry, you love Jack Grealish. That's what it is. You love him.
I don't love him.
You love him.
Honestly, I am straight. I'm heterosexual, but if I really said I'm going to get married, I would definitely consider it. I'd be like, do you know what? He's so soft and sweet. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. Listen, Abs, thanks for coming on the show and having your
guys.
Top man. Thank you. Next up, we've got Samuel coming soon, but right now we're going to add this man to the stream. He's been waiting a while. Amar is backstage with us now. Welcome to the terrace. What you saying, bro?
Yo. I just wanted to say, Meeks, I agree with you, but you've been talking about the money from City's perspective, but you haven't looked at Aston Villa's perspective. Like, didn't Grealish sign a 5-year deal last season? Plus, he's an English international. Plus, the English tax is real, and he is a Prem-proven player. So I don't see why City would be forced to pay 100 million. You get me?
I hear you. I did kind of address the Aston Villa perspective at the start when I said I think he's worth that on the market because Villa want to set the price and Man City are willing to pay it. I don't begrudge whether it's Villa setting 100 million, West Ham setting 100 million on Rice, Haaland at 150. Like the selling club with those players, you can do what you want in terms of price. The question is he worth that money? And I think if you're asking is he worth that money, you have to start the argument from a Man City perspective because they're the one who's actually spending the money. But Villa are well within their right to put that price tag, and they probably put that price tag thinking no one's gonna meet it, and then Man City met it. So yeah,
Man City came and paid the money, And plus, can we talk about Haaland?
Yeah.
I mean, I see all the hype about Erling Haaland potentially coming to United, but I think this is just my hunch. I think Barcelona and Real Madrid might be in the race next season because I read a few reports where they're getting some money by the La Liga selling some stake in some. I'm not too sure. They're getting a couple 100 million each. So I don't think United are well in the clear, but United might definitely be in the race if Chelsea sign Lukaku too.
I mean, I look at the Haaland situation, and a lot of people want to write Man United off from being able to get it done, and Chelsea fans are, why don't we wait till next year? With this it's actually more money than I actually read earlier. It's actually it's a 3.2 billion pound investment into La Liga with 2.9 billion going to the clubs. Like I said a few weeks ago, those big Spanish clubs, where there's a will, there's a way, and there was always going to be something come out. And I almost guarantee you that 40% of that, all that 2.9 billion, goes to those, is split between those two clubs, and everybody else has the remaining percentage. A little bit like their TV deals. So they're going to go in hard for him. But Haaland is certainly a player Man United I've got to strive for, and everybody's got to strive for him next year if you're a Champions League and a legacy team, because he could be one of the seminal strikers of the next 10 to 12 years, and you can't just watch that parade go by. Like, I would expect every top club to have already made contact with Kylian Mbappe's reps, and they may have all been told, no, he wants Real Madrid, but they'll keep checking in because the world does change. The world does change, and you've got to keep on top of those kind of deals. It's how Man United and others found out about Varane, because you always keep tabs on these situations. And then because you're interested, and then you get told, yeah, look, it's available, it could happen, and then you've got to get to work very, very quickly. So it'll be interesting to see. Top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Macafetti here says Grealish is not worth the coin. Raheem Sterling is 100 million proven. He kept Grealish on the bench all Euros and carried England, is what Macafetti believes they are. Next on the show, young Samuel is here. Young Samuel, do you believe that Jack Grealish is worth £100 million?
Poof, I'll tell you this. If James Madison is worth £65 million or £70 million, then Jack Grealish is 100% worth £100 million. But if knowing City, I'd rather go in for Harry Kane first, because, Harry Kane brings more to the table than Jack Grealish will. In terms of football, Terry, Harry Kane brings more to the table, if Man City get Harry Kane, that's 30 goals or 20 goals a season guaranteed. Jack Grealish, I mean, it doesn't really. I know City have lost. They have got Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden already there. So to me, it doesn't make a little bit of sense, because they've got two of the best creative players in the Premier League there. Phil Foden, I believe, has a higher ceiling than Jack Grealish, in my opinion. Jack Grealish, £100 million. I mean, listen, I know Aston Villa fans are very, very much upset about this, but if you look at it from Jack Grealish's point of view, this is a move to a bigger club. You could argue a bigger club, working on one of the best managers of all time, with one of the best teams of all time in Manchester City, with trophies guaranteed. And I think, was it Mr. Mubarak, the chief executive of Man City, came out and said, Man City are not content with just a Premier League title or a League Cup. They want to win that Champions League. He said they were so close to us, we're not content. We want to do more, because doing nothing now, like being content with this is how you fall off. You fall off and you just collapse. So signing Jack Grealish and Harry Kane is an absolute must for Man City if they want to win the Champions League. If you look at the competition around them, Manchester United have made a big move in Jadon Sancho, around I think £70 million. Chelsea, in the next, hopefully, maybe a couple of weeks, will get Romelu Lukaku for around 110 million pounds. So every around the league you look at, okay, everyone is spending big money, and as well, it's Man City's time to shine, and they're getting possibly two of the best players in the Premier League for £200 million. But I believe I'll take the gamble with Jack Grealish. It's worth it. He's a marketable player. He can increase the Man City's brand, and he's a very marketable player. I'm not sure what you think about this, Terry, but I know. Would you have rather gone in for Kane first as a security blanket, just in case you don't have the finances for this deal to go through? Or would you have gone for Jack Grealish straight away?
They've got the finances. I look at it the other way, though. I know we all say Kane guarantees goals, but I swear I've heard this been said about Pep on a million occasions. Doesn't really like number 9s. Prefers a false 9 anyway. So... And we know that's been said, and that's that. I've been waiting now 48 minutes for someone to maybe throw that point out, and I've left it, and it's been left to me again. It's been left to me again to do it. But no, I'm only messing. But it's true. Like in his career, like he's invariably had great teams that haven't used traditional number 9s, or they haven't been at their best with traditional number 9s playing in that central role. David Villa being used out on that left-hand side always stands to mind. The way he fell out with Zlatan as an example, even his use. I know he had injury problems, but even his use sometimes, subbing him early, starting him on the bench, probably more than he should have done with Aguero. There was always this sort of feeling that there was like not a problem personally, but just I prefer people that aren't strikers, but that can score. I think if he could have 3 players in his attack that could all score like Raheem Sterling, I think he would just do that. I don't think he cares. So
you know what I'd say to that, Terry, and I think you're right. I think his preference would be to play. He don't want a striker. He would want all his midfielders to just pass into the goal. But what I would say is that when you look at his success across the years, he's always had a prolific number 9. So even against his own wishes, the number 9 that he maybe doesn't want to play ends up being pivotal, whether it be trying to think, did he have Samuel Eto'o in
09, yeah.
09, yes, he had Samuel Eto'o. Did he not have Lewandowski? Was he not there when Lewandowski
was
at Bayern? And then Aguero. He tried to push Aguero out the side to an extent, but it just kept coming back because by hook or by crook, goals win matches, no matter how much possession you have. So yeah, his preference and the reality are not exactly the same thing.
And I do get that. And that's why I think he would, of course, he'd take Harry Kane. But also, we heard him say, and I'm not going to do his accent, but we heard him say at the end of the season, impossible. I can't do it, but you know how he always talks like he's whispering, like he shouts like he's whispering, like, it's impossible. It's like, of course you have the money. You're owned by your owner's net worth is like 70 billion. Like his owner's so rich, he makes Roman Abramovich look poor. Of course, it's true. Like relatively speaking, it's I have got the money. You have got the money. He just has.
He could barely keep his face straight when he said it too. He had like a little smirk. Like he could barely keep it in.
Listen, you can have the richest owners in the world, but Daniel Levy is still a prick. All right, he will still grab every single penny he can get out of the Harry Kane deal. So I see this deal going to the last week of a transfer window because Daniel Levy will try to get every single money he can do.
Yeah, Levy is what Levy is. We know what Levy's about. We know what Levy does, and he's great at doing that business-wise.
Can I also just say one more thing about this as well? Like, I was just thinking about like why are they doing all of this? Like, ultimately, I feel like this also weakens the teams around them too, and that's important for them. If they keep some of these really good players, even if Jack Grealish, let's say he comes in and he doesn't even start, that just makes sure that like nobody else in the big 6 or even like top 4, whatever, can grab onto to Jack Grealish and strengthen. So I think it's almost like that, just trying to get like a stronghold on those first 1 and 2 spots and weakening everybody else around them. Because if you get Harry Kane, then Spurs is dead. Like, you know what I mean? If you had waited and even like say, I'm not saying it would have happened, but if Arsenal could have got their lives together and got Jack Grealish, then we get better. Shut up.
Yes, what do you say, Jess? Why?
By the way, where are you? This man, right?
Oh yeah.
February to the end of the season, this fella is like, trust me, Arsenal.
Leave Eagle.
No, it isn't the case at all. A few people have been asking in the comment section. Terry, you said that the Martinez and the Madison stage transfers are advanced. Yes, I truly believe they are based on what I'm reading. Madison wants to join Arsenal, very willing to leave and come and join your football club. That's an advanced process. Like that's the player saying he's coming. Personal terms are not going to be an issue with him because they've already been resolved. It's now about getting the deal done with the club. You know, the asking price. There is literally the only thing left to do is get a bid accepted. It's pretty damn advanced. Lautaro Martinez, players willing to join Arsenal. You know what to pay him in salary. That element isn't too much of a problem if you can remove some players from your team because you'll be on a lot less than someone like, say, Aubameyang and not too much more than what Lacazette's being paid. You also know what the asking price is and you've made bids. Again, that deal, both those deals have got one stage left, getting your bid accepted. You can't be much more advanced than just needing to get your bid accepted. That's it. Like all the other talks and conversations have gone on. Clubs very rarely bid now until they know they can land the football players. That's why they are bidding. So yes, those deals are, in my view, at an advanced stage. Just cut through all the PR bullshit and some of the journalistic nonsense that we see. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Like once you put in 2 or 3 bids for a player, it's pretty advanced. Like you don't do that now until you know. Imagine you put all these bids in. Think about it logically. Arsenal, all these bids in. They're offering Nketiah, the tea lady, and everyone to try and land him. They get the bid accepted. They go, James, you want to come? And he says, no, that's never going to happen. So it's advanced. Graham Bishop says, Since we are now getting Lukaku, I want Haaland to go to Spain for either Madrid or Barca. And Graham, that backs up what Jess just said about weakening opponents. Every Chelsea fan and his dog now is desperate to see Haaland go to Spain, and of course not to a big Premier League rival, because that will be painful. Tahir Khan says, I've just super chatted that Jess talks facts. I take it back. Lol. Grealish to Arsenal. Yeah, sorry about that.
Listen, there's no need to worry
That's
about
an
Jack Grealish.
example.
It's terrible.
Okay.
Sorry, 1 second. Mecca here says Sterling, Grealish, Foden, and Mahrez will interchange. Sterling will start through the middle, and they will all rotate mid-game. We've seen him do it before. I mean, that is scary to think about, isn't it? Like those four players attacking against you. And just imagine if you could throw Kane into that as well. It's just disgrace. I mean, it's almost as good as Man United's attack, isn't it, Nix?
They couldn't lace Dan James's boots, to be honest.
Bro,
Oh my god!
Jesse Lingardinho back to his best next season, rejuvenated. Super chat here says, imagine the scenes if Real Madrid get Mbappe on a free and Haaland with the release clause. I mean, I don't think it's happening, but it would be gargantuan if they pulled that off. It truly, truly would. Young Samuel, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Where's Donny James gone? He didn't want to wait. See, no patience in Donny James. No staying power there, young man. So I'm going to go to, this will be an interesting one, the bunk. Oh, it's Russell. It's that man, Russell. How you doing, Russ?
Hey, what's going, Terry?
Yeah, I'm good. Jack Grealish, 100 million or not? Let me know. Go on.
Not gonna like what I have to say, man. You know, I don't think he's worth the 100 million. I love him, by the way. I think he has amazing shins, like you said. But 100 million, man, no chance, no chance. I would say it's probably signing for potential, because I don't even take the argument about the English tax on 100 million. So for me, 100 million for Jack Grealish, no chance.
Why? You haven't said anything yet. Why though?
Okay, so, well, when you look at 100 million, if you ask me, is he worth it? Basically, what you're asking me is, from what I've seen from him, have I seen a 100 million pound worth player? And I haven't seen a 100 million pound worth player. For starters, he's played for Aston Villa for what, 3 years, and his numbers, besides his chances created, don't suggest to me as a forward player that he has proven anything more than 60 million pounds. Now, if you're talking potential can always go to 100 if you've got the talent that Jack Grealish has. But
60 million?
yeah, 60 million.
Why?
Because like I said, he played for Aston Villa. And even in an Aston Villa team, he didn't pull out trees. You know, he's been amazing. He's got the talent.
Wait, are you talking about goals and assists? What are you talking? What do you mean not pulling up trees?
Way overhyping him.
He definitely pulled up trees for Aston Villa.
Yeah,
Definitely. I think them staying in the league.
Okay, besides the season, is it the COVID season, the NHA season, where basically saved them from getting relegated? That's pulling up trees in his range. He saved them from getting relegated.
Well, it is because they just came up. They just came up, so you have to first stay up. And then last year, he was the driving force behind them being in what they were in European positions up until he got injured.
Jesse Lingard was better than him last year.
Stop this.
Jesse Lingard did not have a better season than Jack Grealish. He had a better 4 months when Jack Grealish was injured for most of it, but he didn't have a better season.
How many months are in a season, Nix?
More than 4.
Yeah. How many months?
It's like 9.
9?
Well,
okay. So Jesse Lingard, you said a good 4 months. How many good months did Jack Grealish have?
Every month that he wasn't injured.
How many was it?
I don't know. What, 7?
He didn't play for 7 months. Oh my
well,
God.
you obviously know. I'm just saying the time that he wasn't injured.
This is why I say he's overhyped. He didn't have 7 months of football for starters, and he wasn't great for 7 months.
Mate, I honestly, Russ, bruv, I'm sorry to say this, but you are talking fart.
That's what happens when people don't agree, but you can't prove anything.
No, but it's not about not agreeing. So not only did statistically he perform above and beyond the player at a club like Villa should, and I'm not saying Villa as in your club's tiny, shouldn't perform. The players that are around him, the amount of opportunities that he created, the amount of approach plays that he was in, the amount of assists that he scored, the level of goals that he got for the team that he was in was huge. The quality of player passing him the ball and him crossing balls and feeding balls into. You take that quality and you add it into a higher level team with better quality around him. You see someone at a different level. Comparing him to Ashley Young as an example, like somebody else did earlier when he left Villa, is ridiculous because Grealish's technical ability, this is where the eye test element comes in. Jack Grealish's technical ability on the ball is as good as any other football player in world football right now. No one's technical ability. So you've got his technical ability is one of the best in the world. And his outputs and his performances and his statistics at a club like Villa were on par with someone who's called the best creator in the world in KDB. That's what makes up a large part of his valuation.
But Terry, how do you say he's technically...
Let me just add in. You add into the fact, not English tax, but you add into the element of homegrown tax because it counts a homegrown player at a football club. You've got the commercial element, which is huge around this guy. And by the way, it's going to explode now. If Jack Grealish was a Man United Academy player, not a Villa Academy player, he'd already be the most famous person in the game. And one of the reasons has nothing to do with football, I said it earlier, is because he's a stunningly beautiful looking man. And that matters in that regard. It's as simple as that. David Beckham.
How is his technicality judged, though, Terry?
Looked like Peter Beardsley. You know, he would not have been popular, especially commercially, as he was. And Jack Grealish has got all that. You add all those things together. For me, Jack Grealish is worth £100 million plus. Money in football now is gargantuan. And I'll give you an example. £3.2 billion is just about to be invested into. Well, I know someone who's playing with paper. If you could stop for me, that would be amazing. £3.2 billion is about to be invested into the league, and 2.9 billion of it's going straight to the clubs. The money in football is gargantuan, thus the cost of players goes up. Like that element needs to be factored in. Players are now worth more money than they were 5 years ago, purely based on the inflation of money as well. But Russell, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on.
You muted me because I wanted to ask you something.
No, I muted you because you were playing with paper, and it was I've got.
Taking notes.
You're taking notes.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're screwing. Wait, what are you taking notes for?
No, because I take seriously what you're saying, bro. I love the show.
I'm joking. Man's putting my words up. You putting them on your fridge?
No, just taking down notes. Just listening to what you're saying. Stuff I disagree with, man. And
he's getting receipts, so later on he can come back.
You never catch me out with receipts because my logic and my morality stays the same for everything I talk about.
But he hasn't even competed against the best in the world. We keep saying, "Oh, he's technically one of the best in the world." No, he hasn't. He competed in the Premier League on a European level.
The Premier League is the best league in the world, and he's done it in the Premier League. Cast facts.
Okay.
For me, listen, but Russell, great points, though. Great points, great challenge. Love you, brother.
Love you too, bro. Nice one.
Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Look at that.
I'm with you, Russell. He's not worth the content.
Sam's with us now. Sam, what you saying, bro?
What's up, guys?
Oh, got another American in the house. Look at this. It's been overtaken. How you doing?
Another American Arsenal fan, let me just say.
Oh, nice.
You look proper American. Hat back, long hair.
Hat back, just worked out. It's a sunny day in South Florida. I'm waiting for my coffee, and all's well.
Lovely. What's your take on Jack Grealish for 100 mil?
Yeah, I think, listen, I agree with Jess. It's 100 million is, to me, not justifiable. He's a great player. I think if the club goes ahead and pays 100 million pounds for him, you know, is it similar with 50 million, like with Ben White? Does the price tag, you know, put pressure on their shoulders? I think, listen, he's going to perform like he always has if he goes for 100 million. So there's that. And Jess, let me just say, like, as Arsenal fans, right, we listen to all these conversations with all these fans of the top clubs. They could have worse problems, right? Like, they could be Arsenal supporters. They could, you know, watch a club who has zero ambition and, you know, we're sitting idly by, like, you know, waiting for something to happen.
Wait. What? We are not showing no ambition at the moment. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
They could have worse problems. Like,
yeah. I mean, compared to
Haaland, you know, going for Haaland, going for Lukaku, going for Grealish, like your club could have worse problems, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
get you.
I'm about to roll up to the window here at Starbucks, so I don't want to like have to, leave
No,
early. But I'm gonna
do
leave.
your order while you're on the air. I'm intrigued. I mean,
What are you getting?
I get an
yeah.
iced caramel macchiato. I get an
Oh,
iced.
that's not coffee, man. Come on.
Is it?
I just worked out. It's still.
Hang on. So go back in. What are you getting? An iced mocha choco? But what?
No, an iced caramel macchiato from Starbucks.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
man.
going to sound so old and English, but what the fuck is that? What is that?
You know what? It's a caramel. It's an iced coffee with caramel and milk, and it tastes really fucking good. And I don't know, so
That's exactly what you need after just a real good workout, my brother. Pump that sugar in them veins, brother. Love it, love it. Listen, my guy, thank you for calling in, Sam. Really appreciate it, buddy, and enjoy it. South Florida looks nice and warm as well. Look at that. I bet California's nice.
When will we get summer? We've had about 2 days of it.
Never.
My pool looks miserable, bro. My pool's just been dirty because I cleaned it out. Right? I had one hot day, then it rained for 2 days, and then the bottom of it's just full of stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fill the thing with dirt. I'm getting rid of the damn thing. How much would Beckham have been worth in today's market? Oh, that's worth looking at. What was he sold in 2002 for?
23.
What?
23
million in 2002. So I haven't done the inflation since 2002, but we'll just use Rooney's from 2004 of 420%. So I mean, give or take, Beckham in this era would go for about 120 million. But I think Beckham's would be above standard inflation because you'd have to factor in the social
points.
The sexy. Yeah, that's what you should call them now. Sexy points. Like social media, especially, didn't exist back then. Can you imagine? Beckham now I think Beckham took out his Instagram account just before he retired, and he's got like 90 million people or something looking at him. Can you imagine how many people would have been following Beckham? Not just because of when he was with Victoria at the peak Spice Girls times.
Yeah, Jack ain't going out with Little Mix or something like that.
Like, this is the thing. If Beckham was just famous like now, like if you go back in time, but we had social media, Beckham's transfer fee would have been about 200 million because commercially he would have been worth hundreds of millions of pounds more over the lifespan of David Beckham's career, easily. In this day and age with the way commercials are, like I think like Conor McGregor charges £500,000 if you want him to like tweet about your product. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's all. Oh my god, the money.
And when you put Conor McGregor next to David Beckham for the paraphrase, you'd be like, who the fuck is that guy?
100%. Cameron's here with us now. Another North American in the house, but from a nice part of North America. Yeah, bro.
I'm good. Jack Grealish worth 100 million. Only if City does not need to go and buy another player in a few years to replace. You know what I mean? City seems to do the whole, if he doesn't work out, we'll go buy somebody else. This will be a huge sunk cost. And I think he'll succeed, but this will be a massive sunk cost if he doesn't perform. Like Bernardo Silva, for instance, is already basically not good enough for City. If that happens somehow with Jack Grealish, no way. I hear what you're saying with the commercial rights and all that. The man's calves alone are probably worth 25 million pounds. The difference with Beckham, though, is Beckham had like a skill that nobody could comprehend, right? The way Beckham took free kicks and that long ball, like that was a skill back then. Like, I mean, there's a movie about it that nobody could even wrap their head around, especially because the game wasn't as big around the world yet. Jack Grealish, he dribbles really well, he keeps the ball well, but he doesn't have anything as flashy as Beckham. So I don't think they're a good comparison in that sense. And Beckham's better looking. So it's I hear what you're saying from a commercial standpoint. From the footballing standpoint, it's tough. Because I think you should only be paying 100 million for goals at this stage. Like when you're paying 100 million, I think it should be for guaranteed. We're talking Mbappe, Haaland. We'll put Lukaku in the conversation now because he's banging the goals. I think it's got to be for that kind of contribution. Now, if Jack Grealish goes to City, and you're right, this is the thing. If Jack Grealish goes to City and he ends up with 30 goal contributions for the next 3, 4, 5 years, okay, cool. He's been worth it, right? Because his position isn't about goals. But if he contributes to that many goals as well, because the players around him will be better, and he's the reason why whoever they decide to get as a striker or their false nine is putting in goals, then you know what? Cool. So I think I put is he worth 100 million? Yes, but there's a ton of caveats. It's not like a Haaland where you're like, he's worth it no matter what. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with your point there. I think he has to deliver and everything else along those lines. Gal's with us now very quickly before the end. What you saying, bro? I mean, commiserations.
Gary, we've been sorry, carry on.
Oh, no, you go, mate. Go.
No, I'll say we've been invaded by the North American army, innit?
You sure have.
Andre the Grass, baby.
It's funny. It's rich coming from an Englishman, right? Talking about invasions. Anyways.
George Bush says hi. George Bush says hi.
Anyways, continue. I was gonna say
North America. It's North America.
I just wanted to come on, echo everything Cam said. Cam, you said it eloquently. I didn't have to even say it myself. I generally am questioning why they're spending this type of money on Jack Grealish. So I looked at their team and I said to them myself, they're looking for English talent and they're gonna go get probably one of the best English players out there in Jack Grealish, and they're probably going to try to go get Harry Kane because their squad does not have too many English players to reach the English quota. Look at their bench. They don't really have too many English players. They don't have too many homegrown players in their squad. So this is what they're doing. We get the method to the madness. But you know what? They've set a dangerous precedent. Now I'm thinking they're going to have to start paying over the odds for players going forward. They're going to have to be able to sell their players. But guess what? You're not going to be able to sell your players, even if you're winning the league, if your players are not getting game time and the teams know your players are losing value sitting on your bench week in, week out. Yes, they have a good team and they rotate a lot. But at the end of the day, what they're doing is a dangerous precedent. Spend $100 million on Jack Grealish. Guess what? Next time you need a center back or a midfielder, you might have to spend over the odds. So good luck, City.
And look, you actually bang on there, Gal. Like, this is the one thing City were trying to avoid, is setting that precedent that they're willing to spend this amount of money. A few quick updates before we go. Big protest in Inter Milan right now. Fabrizio's revealed the picture of banners from the Inter Ultras asking the board to pay attention and saying promises should be kept. They're really, really angry. Will this make? I mean, it's the rule and the noise has been that this new bid that City are preparing is going to be accepted. This could delay the deal slightly. I mean, this is. I look at this as Arsenal's opportunity here. Get that £65 million bid in for Lautaro. See what happens. I'd love that to happen first, just to see the complexity of this. Also, big breaking Liverpool news: signing at Liverpool. Alisson has signed a new contract to stay and go until 2027.
You guys
I'm just mad about it. It's like I don't know, but it's 2 days running they've released that kind of news. Porcelain here says thanks for everything, Jack. Probably the best player I've seen at my club. We will build better and move on. No player is bigger than the club. UTV. That's a much better response, Porcelain, than the one I quote tweeted earlier on Twitter where it was like, Jack Grealish is dead to me. I was like, Jesus, right, dead to you. Like, that's a madness. But people do take it very, very seriously indeed. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, I've got a really important meeting I've got to go to. We've got some big announcements coming very soon on the terrace. The location for our first terrace away day, time and dates. The 20th of August will be the first new Friday night show on the terrace. We're going to want about 20 people in attendance for that. We'll start reaching out if you're interested in getting involved. First match reaction show in the studio will be that weekend as well. Plus new emojis on the way for our members and a lot more. The scarves are getting readied up as well. Until next time, take care of your beautiful selves. Look after yourselves. Jack Grealish, I can't wait to see them calves run around next season, young man. Look after yourself as well, gorgeous. Until then, take care.